Hi, I'm Reed Holson. Welcome to Ask the Mayor. We're out and about this time. We're in the street department where it's quiet now. We had our first kind of inch snowfall and it blew really bad. We had some blowing and drifting snow, but we're where all the action happens, Mayor Uther, for our Ask the Mayor this month. Snow removal season is here, and you can see the equipment behind us. We're good stewards of it, and it works really well for the city.
Spit shined and ready to go. This equipment, it's a worthy investment. You know, whether we buy it or whether we rent it, we do treat it with kid gloves, and we've got a full team that not only removes the snow, but there's so much going on behind the scenes to make sure that we're ready. You know, whether it's ice, snow, wind, rain, you name it, we're ready to go.
And this is, we all want a snowblower like this. It's what's behind us. I mean, this thing is amazing. They tell me it can throw a fire hydrant through it. You can just put it in there, just going right through, no problem at all.
So it'll handle any snow that comes our way.
Anything that comes our way. So snow removal, and then behind us over here too is a stainless steel bed that they're investing in now that will last the life of the truck, so no more rust.
Okay.
So another example of how we're thinking like a business in the city.
Thank you, Rita. I appreciate that comment, and again, we are good stewards of the taxpayer dollars, and the thing that one of the things that I've been so proud of when it comes to our city team is they are thinking outside of the box. They are challenging the status quo. They are, trying to do things that you would do at your home or in your business or in your church to try to squeeze those dollars and get more productivity out of them. And yeah, here at Public Works or with our snow removal team or our fleet team, whatever it would be, that's exactly what they're doing, and here are two great examples of it, so thank you, Reed.
And we're in the first week in December as we're taping this, so if we don't have another snow event, how does our snow budget look for going into 2018?
You never know what's going to happen in a year in terms of your budgets, in terms of your expenses, but you are trying to be as prudent as you can throughout. And this year, we had some challenges, Reed, whether it be sales tax revenues were not as strong as we wanted them. The ag economy certainly has not been as strong as we've wanted. So we have been incredibly prudent and frugal and yes, conservative. But one of the great things that we were not expecting was a pretty good snow season so far, and that saves us money. Every inch of snow is a chunk of change that we lay down, and really we've had now about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches of snow total at the time that we're doing this program. So it is helping our bottom line, and what we'll do is we'll take that savings, we'll put it into our reserve if possible. And then we'll use that to do good things in 2018 and beyond.
Snowgate's ready to rumble again this year?
You bet. And yes, Sioux Falls, again, I just want to caution you. Snowgates, as much as I've really been thrilled by their use, remember, they're not going to remove every bit of snow from your curb or from your gutter or from your driveway. And that especially is true the more snow that we get. So remember that when that gate drops and that snow is stopped, at some point in time, there's a potential where some of it's going to go over the top and may go into your driveway. So again, we're thrilled by these snow gates. They've performed better than we expected. I strongly believe they've been a good investment. I know the people of Sioux Falls love them, but there's still some misinformation out there about them, and one of them is that it's going to stop all snow from going in your driveway. It won't. Also, we do make mistakes. If you can imagine this, in the city of Sioux Falls, we're not perfect. So there may be a case where we knocked over your mailbox. There may be a case where we even missed your street entirely or a cul-de-sac. If that happens, call us. We'll be out there like that, and we'll do our best to serve you and learn from that mistake.
And the crew here do man the phones, do person the phones, so to speak, and people will call in, and if you have a problem, they'll respond.
That's right.
Yep.
Call Public Works, call the mayor's office, call the street team, whatever it would be. We are here to serve, and we do a darn good job serving. But again, we're not perfect, so just help us sharpen that saw.
So let's talk about shoveling our sidewalks at home. we got to do the best that we can there. It's generally the city wants you to do it within 48 hours.
Yes. And you know what's kind of interesting? The last snowfall, or the only snowfall we had, it was really only about an inch, inch and a half. But what's so interesting is it was so windy and so cold. And so we didn't really have so much just snow on the streets or snow on the sidewalks. We ended up with ice. And ice is actually even more dangerous than the snow. And so, we'll do our best to clear those streets. But Sioux Falls, what we need you to do is to do your best at, clearing those sidewalks. And I know I've said this in the past, and I hope it's not too repetitive, but, only imagine if it was your mom or your grandma that kind of struggles getting from point A to point B. Only imagine if it was your son or daughter that was visually impaired or maybe was in a wheelchair. Only imagine if you didn't have those physical means that you used to have, and so you do struggle. And only imagine if you've got that 5-year-old or 6-year-old trying to get to school. Only imagine that it was your kids, your family, your relation. Then I think that you would understand why it's so important that everybody in this town take care of their sidewalks and their snow and their ice. So help us out. And yes, you know what, Sioux Falls, if you've got a neighbor, if you've got a business that is not doing that, our code enforcement team is ready to enforce those. We're not in the business just to make everybody mad or fine everybody or this or that, but we are going to hold people accountable, keep the city safe, and try to treat everybody neighborly or the way that we'd want to be treated. So if you've got a neighbor or business that isn't following the rules, let us know. We'll take care of it.
And it's a good idea to take care of your neighbors if you can too. Help out people like we used to.
Reed, that's probably one of the most important things. I mean, here was the mayor talking about code enforcement, but I think you did something that's even more important. You actually talked about being a good steward with the day that we've been given, and that includes sharing your time and your talent and your treasure. And right now, there are people in Sioux Falls that are not capable of taking care of their own snow or ice on their sidewalks. So yeah, like we used to do in the olden days, we used to help people out. And so who is that person in your neighborhood that could use the most help? And then why don't you just take it upon yourself to help them? Or teach your kids to help them, better yet. So I love it. Thanks, Reed, for bringing that up.
That's a good idea, that's for sure. I haven't been more happy in a long time that 18th and Minnesota's road construction cleared out. So we got some extra months of road construction. Review the year for us. It's been a busy year in road construction.
Probably the busiest and biggest year in Sioux Falls road construction history. And I'll say repair, rebuild, replace infrastructure history. Because we tackled those roads, Reed. We tackled those water lines, those sewer lines, those bike trails, those buildings, and so much more. And the weather was unbelievable and really helped cooperate in terms of getting those things done. So yeah, whether it be Minnesota or remember Louise?
Oh yeah,
Louise.
We got done so early.
We got it done, Sioux Falls, and yes, South Dakota and all of the Midwest that would use that. It got done and so much more. I mean, our city is growing at a pace that we can't imagine. This is a real deal. Mike Cooper told me this, Reed. He said, Mayor, he goes, by the time you're done serving this city, you will have added the city the size of an Aberdeen on top of the city of Sioux Falls. And if you've ever been to Aberdeen or Watertown or whatever, they've got a lot of roads. And so here we are not only adding more roadways, but we're also repairing and maintaining the existing roadways that we have in ways that we never have before, and also that stuff under the ground too. So just so thrilled by what we've been able to accomplish as a city, and kind of going back to where we started. We're trying to be as frugal with those dollars as we can, and so we're prioritizing now in a more objective way, and then putting those dollars to good use. And then, yes, when Mother Nature helps us, we can even go beyond October or Halloween. And this year, we ended up going just in, the day before the first snowfall. So it was just wonderful. All the way into December, doing road repair in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I love it.
Yeah, and they're still putting up streetlights in some of these new roads, so it's important for us as neighbors to see if we see street light out, to report that as well.
You know, it's interesting. I don't think we pay as much attention to streetlights as we do things like potholes. And hey, Sioux Falls, if you see a pothole, even in the wintertime, call it in. But also, yes, if you see a street light that is not operating or not working, or if you drive by and it goes out, that's a sign that that street light is about ready to go out. I learned that just this week. And so, yeah, please call them in. And Jerry and our light team, they'll be out there as quick as possible to get that thing up and running again.
And just like we're going to the stainless steel on the bed of this truck here, we're changing to LED lights throughout the city.
We are. I mean, they're not all going to be done at one time, but yeah, as we're repairing them, as we're replacing them, or in a methodical way, we are putting in more efficient, brighter LED lighting that, yes, will last longer, as well as, once again, save these taxpayer dollars that are so important so we can use them for other things.
It's a safety issue, too.
You bet.
Yeah,
you
it
bet.
really
Especially
is.
in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe speaking of that, I know it's kind of we're here at in Public Works talking about snow. It is getting darker so much earlier. And we had a number of accidents after that first snowfall. We did. And remember, it was only 1.5 inches. But we do need to remember, slow down. You'll get there. Be more cautious. Get those snow tires on. It is December now, folks. And always, you know, not only focus on you, but also focus on all those folks around you too, because you may then be the most perfect driver, being very, very safe, and maybe it's someone else that's going to cause the accident. So be on the lookout for them too.
That's what Dad always said, right?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Building permits. Are we going to set another record this year? We had 4 years in a row now where we beat the record the year before. How does this year look as we close it
All
out?
right, Reed, I know you've taught me don't ever look in the camera, so I won't, but a
Well,
little
if you want to. You got a big thing to say.
Hey, Sioux Falls, for the 5th straight year, record, and now for a 5th straight year, we're going to break that construction record in the city of Sioux Falls. We're going to do it.
Wow.
I don't know the exact day, but yeah, Mike Cooper and the team, they're watching it like a hawk, and I'll just say it's going to happen in the month of December, but we are going to break that construction record for a 5th straight year.
Incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it's all over our town. It's, you know, north, south, east, west, and yes, downtown. We're not only building out, but we're building up. And I think the thing that one of the things I'm just going to be thrilled by is that, you know, all this land that was underdeveloped or not developed at all in the city of Sioux Falls, we call it the infill. Most of that land now has been purchased and now redeveloped or developed. And that's really important because we already had the infrastructure around it or to it. We just weren't actually using it as efficiently as we could. And now when these developers, dreamers, builders, investors, when they build on an infill lot, we're all winning. And they've been doing that a lot over the last 5 record-breaking years.
You're right. We'll look forward to the future.
And thanks for teaching me in terms of what camera I'm supposed to look at too. So I appreciate that.
You got it.
That's why, Reed, I shouldn't have broken that rule.
Oh,
Sorry, I made a mistake.
But, no, you wanted to. That's perfect.
You know, Sioux Falls, I've been doing this program now for almost 8 years.
Yeah,
and Reed, I just want to thank you, as well as the team behind the scenes. We should get them on camera too at some point before I'm done, because, you know, this stuff doesn't happen on its own. We are unbelievably professional. Here we're doing it at the Public Works team, you know, the city streets crew, but we've got a studio that is top of line. You know, we're doing things differently. We're trying to, you know, inform and communicate and keep people up to date on all the good things going on. And you know, I take way too dang much credit for it. But yeah, there's some people behind the scenes, behind these cameras, that are really making it happen. So, you know, someday we're going to put them on camera too.
Absolutely. part of the 1,200 city employees, and
Hallelujah.
the
Hallelujah.
600 or so part-time as well, to a good note.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break, the mayor and I, and when we come back, Mayor's going to give us an update on the now approved mixed-use parking ramp project in downtown Sioux Falls. We're excited about that. We'll be right back.
Cleaning sidewalks after a snowstorm helps ensure the safety and mobility of our entire community. This is important especially for senior citizens and people with disabilities. What's inconvenient to you might be dangerous or even life-threatening to them. Be sure to shovel your sidewalk edge to edge, and if your property has a curb ramp, be sure to clear that entirely as well. Residents and businesses alike must clear their sidewalks within 48 hours after the end of a snowfall or face possible citations. Do your part to keep Sioux Falls safe.
Welcome back to Ask the Mayor. We're at the street department where it's quiet now, but I tell you, when there's snow going on, this is a coordinated effort to make sure that our streets are clear and your neighborhoods are safe. It's something to see. And lots of great equipment here with Mayor Huther. And it's going to snow some more this season. We haven't had a lot. We've had a good fall so far, but we're going to get some more snow.
We are, and when we do, your team of city employees as well as contractors that we have work with us, they're going to get it done in 36 to 48 hours, which is just incredible. It's unheard of. I wish that I could take the citizens of Sioux Falls and kind of put them in other Midwest cities or Northeast cities that get snow. Because then I think they'd come back and they'd really appreciate Sioux Falls even more, because what we do is really unheard of across the United States. And so again, so many people to thank. These women and men that are out there when we're sleeping most of the time in the comfort of our warm beds. They're out there in some really miserable conditions trying to keep us safe, and also allowing this economy to hum by letting us get to schools, get to hospitals, get to our jobs, and yes, keeping Sioux Falls moving.
Well, you had a big night at the recent city council meeting with the approval of the mixed-use parking ramp, which is called Village on the River. Is that the name that's going to stick with this?
I don't know exactly what the name is going to be. I know that was a concept name, but regardless of that name, it was a big night for the citizens of Sioux Falls, a big night, and really proud of the people that have been involved in this, and not only the people in the executive branch, not only the private partners that we're going to be working with, but certainly also the legislative branch, the council as well. And yes, let me throw in the citizen involvement. This is a topic that really Darren Smith talked about years ago, and then handed off the baton to Darren Ketchum in our community development team, our parking team, and had to work with 2 sets of city councilors as well. And then along that journey, of course, there's all these citizens that want to be engaged and want to give their viewpoints. And that's what we do here in Sioux Falls. It's not just the easy things that we tackle, but we really tackle some beasts as well. The event center, the indoor pool, pension reform, phase 1, phase 2 of the River Greenway, city administration building, and things like, mixed use parking ramps too, and these public-private partnerships. They're not easy. We're doing them differently. We want them to be grander and longer lasting and more efficient and productive. And they are going to take some time. And there are going to be some disagreements. But I think ultimately what we do here in Sioux Falls, at least what I've enjoyed over the last 8 years, we find that common ground. We do compromise, and we always communicate. And then, yes, we get it done. And then we move on to the next big thing. And that's what we did again on Tuesday. And just thrilled. It wasn't a unanimous vote, but it was close. It was close, and so just really thrilled by it.
The information around these projects, perceptions sometimes are, in government you deal with that. Are you doing the due diligence? Have you answered all these questions? There was a lot of public input and some consternation and some passion on both sides at that meeting. So how do you know, or what would you say to us as a citizenry that you're doing your due diligence and taking care of the information? Well,
this is a tough one because things have changed, and even the way that we get our news nowadays. We don't take as much time to read the whole article anymore, or even our agencies that report the news, maybe they don't even have the resources to to put all that research and information into it either. But here's what I would ask the people of Sioux Falls and anybody else watching this program. Your city employees, your county employees, your state employees, what it would be, they are really trying to do as much due diligence as they can. They're trying to get that word out in terms of why they're voting yes, why they're voting no, why they're for something, why they're against something. And what I would ask is that just don't read the headline. Just don't pay attention the first storyline. Pay attention throughout. As well as always remember, there are two sides to every story. There are. But boy, you do see that passions have run high at times. And love the passion, love the engagement. But I think as long as we stay respectful, we stay professional, and we understand that we're all in it together, that our primary goal as a city of Sioux Falls, the citizens of Sioux Falls, I think that ultimately, we'll sleep well. We made another tough decision on the mixed-use parking ramp, but for the most part, even if we agreed to disagree, we move on to another day, capture more issues, capture more opportunities, address more issues, and get more done for the people that we serve.
Just quickly, give us a summary of how we're financing our portion of this. A $50 million plus project.
job.
City's in for about 20-some
We
million?
are. We are. It's a $50 million estimated cost on the project, $30 million from the private developers or the private side of the equation, $20 million just a little bit plus on the public side. It'll be funded based on using those revenues that we get from the parking system, which is, again, something that I think people don't understand. We're not going to be reliant on that second penny or those sales tax revenues. So really, it's going to be self-funded, and it will serve our city not for 10 years, not for 20, not for 50. We're projecting at a minimum 80 years plus, and so I love it. It's a good investment. It's going to keep our downtown going and really provide or address a need that we've had for a long, long time called parking.
It's not only parking, but more hotel rooms too, because we need that to attract more conventions, more sporting events.
And that's kind of the exciting thing is that, if the city of Sioux Falls would have built an old parking ramp like we've done in the past, sure, we could do that. Mm-hmm. But we're going to get a bigger bang out of that very, very important, unique, expensive, and valuable space in downtown Sioux Falls. So why not maximize its use? We're going to get at least 550 parking spots. We'll get this retail juggernaut called, a new hotel and new restaurants and so much more. And yeah, it'll drive people in from all over the city, all over the state, all over the country, and then they will spend those hard-earned dollars that they have in Sioux Falls, and we all win. And again, what a concept, whether it be the event center, the indoor pool, this mixed-use parking ramp, and so much more. We're doing things differently, and ultimately we're all going to win.
Annexation update, because you've
Yes.
been tackling this for quite a while too, the task force. Did they reach a decision?
Well, I think the decision that they made was that this is going to be a tough thing. Every time that we're a city that's really growing. We've added a bunch of islands since I've been your mayor. And that was the opposite goal. Mm-hmm. But what we learned is that, with the great leadership of Council Chair Kiley and Selberg, Neitzert, and others, what we learned is that it is going to be a tough thing. We do believe that the right thing to do is to annex land appropriately. However, I think we found good common ground as we do it, and we won't treat every island or every neighborhood that we grow around the same. They're all going to be unique, but they are all special. The one thing that I think we learned the most, and I'll try to be brief, is that in some of these neighborhoods, we are going to maintain some of the uniqueness that they have. They may not all have curb and gutter. They may not all have sidewalks. They may not all have streetlights, and that's okay. And I'm going to say that again. This mayor said that's okay. And that's one where I changed my mind. over the 3, 4, 5 years that we've been tackling it. And then again is government. That again is leadership. That again is finding that common ground. We may not always agree coming out of the blocks, but I think as long as we stay in the game, we don't back away from it, we help make those tough decisions, and we work together to find that common ground, like we did with annexation, like we did with the mixed-use parking ramp, and so much more. If you stay in the game, even if you disagree, that's critical. It's called leadership, and it's what we've been elected to do. And so again, proud of the people that were in the arena tackling all these things.
Leadership challenge the last couple of years has been finances. I mean, states looking at a
Yes.
concern as they look at their budget. We passed our 2018 budget, but here we've got all this growth and all this record-setting things happening, but yet sales tax is not trending up where we'd like it to be.
No,
Seems like a conundrum.
Well, it is, and especially in a growing city like Sioux Falls. So what we're doing is we're trying to be as prudent as we can, as conservative, as fiscally responsible as we can. And what we're really doing, Reed, and again, this is where that leadership comes into play. We are prioritizing in ways that we haven't done really in the past, and we've had to. We're squeezing blood out of that taxpayer turnip. Governor Dugard is doing it. Community leaders all over South Dakota are doing it, and we're doing it here in Sioux Falls. So again, 2018, we presented a very, very tight budget in 18. I'll be done May 15th. We'll hand off the baton to the next mayor, and we'll, he or she, whoever that may be, they'll be in good shape. Our bond rating is incredible. We're so fiscally sound. We've got a reserve level that people only dream about. And yes, maybe the last thing, there's all this talk about debt in the city of Sioux Falls. Folks, I'll compare our debt ratio with any other city out there, and we do that. When you look at our peer cities, our debt per citizen or our debt per capita is one of the lowest that's out there. And so, yes, we do invest, we do borrow occasionally, but we're also using that as an investment tool to stay ahead of growth, to provide good quality of life, keep us all safe, maintain our infrastructure, such as this equipment that we're seeing, and doing good things for the people we serve. And 88% of them, at a minimum, according to the last survey, they think we've got a good or a great or a fantastic place to live. So I love it. I think the investments have paid off well, and we still got money in the piggy bank, and it's pretty full.
All right, good. Mayor, you drive that one. I'm going to drive this one.
Thank you.
We've always wanted to since we were kids. So thanks for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it very much. Mayor Huther and Ask the Mayor. And if you'd like to know more about snow season, just go to siouxfalls.org. Everything you need to know, from signing up for snow alerts or finding the number to report your street problems or any snow removal problems, are right there at siouxfalls.org. I'm Reed Holson. Thanks for watching Ask the Mayor. We'll see you next time.